If you recall, we arrived at the village of Clearbrook, having taken a break to retrace our steps to look at Shaugh Bridge. Our journey now resumes as we locate the railway bridge at the bottom of the hill. The way before us follows the line of the track as we keep the River Meavy to our right. Unfortunately, a large section of the trackway had now been purchased and built upon, and this will prove to be a challenge. Short sections of the railway are accessible, but, as you will see, private dwellings now occupy the place where the line once was. Sheep's Tor dominates the skyline as we carry along, following the River Meavy in the valley below. Designated pathways diverted us under the bridge and allowed us to follow the trackway for a short while. No shortage of signage reminds us that from here on to Yelverton is privately owned. We are guided by signs to rejoin the national cycle route, which takes us to a point where three interesting features are located. Running along in front of the row of large private dwellings is Drake's Leat, Plymouth's oldest supplier of water, dating back to when Sir Francis Drake was the MP for the town and petitioned Parliament to have the Leat built. A few yards above Drake's Leat, Devonport Leat follows a parallel contour. Devonport wanted to divert water from Drake's Leat, but the owners refused, and the Devonport Leat had to be built from the River Dart near Princetown. Between the two leats, a section of Tyrwhitt's tramway with its granite sleepers can be seen. At the end of the preserved section is the vestige of one of the rails. Following the railway along, it crosses the Devonport Leat over two stout beams that formed lintels. Beyond that, the tramway would have followed the side of the Devonport Leat. Alas, the fairly new A386 has been built over the top of it. Continuing along the cycle path, we rejoin the line of Drake's Leat as we enter the village of Yelverton. Any thought of being able to view the station was dashed, as more signage was well placed to remind the casual visitor, like myself, that access was limited. However, down this road was Yelverton Station. At this point, the trains would have continued on to Shaugh Bridge and then on to Tavistock, going through the 186-metre long tunnel, which was opened in 1859. The station at Yelverton wasn't opened until 1885. It was necessary to go to Shaugh Bridge when the railway to Princetown was opened 2 years beforehand. Thereafter the village developed with the arrival of the railway. One can only surmise that the Victorian and Edwardian splendour of the houses meant that the railway provided commuter access for those who could afford to live out in the countryside. I wanted to find the course of the tunnel. I know it began at the end of the station, and I know it crossed underneath the A386 near to where the roundabout is now. But I wanted to find out where it exited. I have crossed over to the other side of the roundabout so I can explore Harrowby Lane. Maps indicate that the railway line emerges down here, and I want to find it. A short while down Harrowby Lane, we've come to a bit of a bank here, and I believe behind here is the tunnel, or where the tunnel actually comes out. So that is my belief, and that's what the maps say. So we'll have a look at that in a minute. Local knowledge is a wonderful thing. Indeed, I was correct in my assumption. I was shown a vantage point, and I could see the course of the track below. I was then able to follow the course of the track as Harrowby Lane runs parallel to it. Adjacent to the hotel is a lane in which we can easily see an embankment and a bridge. In fact, this house is called Bridge House. The site upon which it is built, the embankment, has been removed. Indeed, much of the railway line has been demolished for the rest of the way to Shaugh Bridge. Here again, a lane indicates where the pillars of the bridge once existed, but now has become a boundary wall. I rejoined the main A386 to drive to Shaugh Bridge to see the station. The bridge over the road has long since gone, and only the pillars survive. The station no longer survives, and private dwellings line the path which was once the station platform. Only a couple of station buildings survive and have been adapted as part of modern dwellings. This particular building was once the goods shed. Until the station at Yelverton was built in 1885, trains would start on the Princetown line from Shaugh Bridge. Our journey to Princetown resumes at Yelverton, where the track takes a loop around to Dowsland. We will revisit on our return journey from Princetown, but I want to look at a feature that should not be overlooked: RAF Harrowby.